So, moving on with the next part of the poem. I was still naked, but I felt no shame. This thought disturbed me somewhat till I came upon a soldier standing silently who gave the towel round his neck to me. Normally, we are not even ready to go out of our house without the shirt. But this man was completely naked and he was walking in the main road of the city. Yet he did not feel ashamed at all, as if all his shame has been vanished, has been burnt off by the explosion. Why was he not feeling ashamed? Because when you are suffering through a great amount of physical and mental trauma, pain, anxiety, fear, shame leaves your body or mind. You no longer feel ashamed to be naked because you are coping up with so much more. You are coping up with physical pain. You are coping up with the fear of death. You are coping up with the trauma of what you are seeing around you, the dead bodies, the collapsing building. In such a situation, shame doesn't occur. And the doctor felt a little bit worried. Why wasn't he feeling ashamed? It was natural to feel ashamed, but he was not feeling ashamed at all. Finally, as he was walking forward, he met a soldier. Most probably the soldier has come down as a part of the government's rescue operation. So, the soldier was standing quietly and he had a towel round his neck. He offered the towel to the doctor so that he can cover his shame, cover his nakedness. Up to that point, he was completely naked. My legs, stiff with dried blood, rebelled. So this is also personification because legs do not rebel, but the legs were not able to move forward because so much blood has already been lost and now the blood started clotting. So it became difficult for him to move, and the poet says that my legs rebelled against the orders given by my brain. They were not ready to move forward. I said to Yoko-san she must go on ahead. She did not wish to, but in our distress, what choice had we? The doctor understood that he was not able to walk very fast. He will have to rest, again walk a little, again rest, again walk a little. But he wanted his wife to quickly reach because she was comparatively in a better situation. So he wanted her to reach to the hospital and take some medical aid. So he requested her that he wanted her to move forward, but she did not. She was concerned about the safety of her husband. She wanted to stop and look after him. But the condition was so difficult, so pathetic, she could not. The doctor urged her, requested her to go forward. He will follow gradually. In such a pathetic situation, human beings are not left with much choice, much discretion. They have to act according to the need of the hour. Yoko-san, she did not want to go, but the need of the hour was she should go to the hospital and get the medical aid. So she went. As soon as she left, the doctor says, a dreadful loneliness came over me when she had gone. Suddenly I started feeling extremely lonely. Till now she was there, a companion was there to share my grief. We were not talking, but at least by looking at each other, our grief was getting shared. But now that she is gone, I was overcome with a feeling of extreme loneliness. I was overcome with a feeling of extreme sadness. My mind ran at a high speed, my body crept behind. This is also personification. The mind started running very fast. The mind wanted to quickly race and catch up with Yoko-san, reach the hospital, get well soon, and look after the patients. But the body did not cooperate with the mind. The body was in such a bad condition that it was not able to run or go fast. It had to take some breaks, then only it could move ahead. I saw the shadowy forms of people. Some were ghosts, some scarecrows. These are metaphors because nobody was a ghost. They looked like ghosts. They looked like scarecrows. Because after the explosion, you can understand there must have been a lot of smoke and there must have been a lot of dust everywhere. So the proper human figures were not clearly visible. They looked like shadows, silhouette, dark figures moving in the smoke, moving in the dust. And they looked like scarecrows. Why? Because their arms were stretched, hands were spread on both the directions. Why? It is mentioned soon. All were wordless, dumb, arms stretched straight out, shoulder to dangling hand. It took some time for me to understand the friction on their burns caused so much pain they feared to chafe flesh against flesh. Why were the people moving with their arms stretched? Because they were all burnt, and if their arms were hanging beside their body as it normally does, then the arms will rub against the skin will rub against skin. And we all have some time or the other experienced the sensation of burning, how painful it is. On top of that pain, if something gets rubbed to that burnt portion, it multiplies the pain. So in order to avoid the rubbing of flesh, chafe flesh against flesh means to rub flesh against flesh. In order to avoid the rubbing of flesh, the people stretched their arms so that there should be no touching between the skin of the hand and the skin of the body. The doctor took some time to understand this. Gradually, he realized the real reason. It must be because of the friction. They are avoiding the friction of the burnt. How did they get burnt? Because I told you immense amount of heat was produced by the explosion. So even without fire, that excessive heat scorched the clothes, completely burnt the clothes, and in some cases, people who were outside, maybe on the roads, it burnt their skin as well. Now, one expression is very important here. All were wordless, dumb. This wordlessness, this dumbness, this quietness has been emphasized in the poem again and again. This is the first point we are seeing, the dumbness. We will see more expressions of dumbness or quietness. I will discuss it after coming to the end of the poem. Those who could shuffled in a blank parade towards the hospital. I saw dismayed a woman with a child stand in my path, both naked. Had they come from the bath? Had they come from the bath? This is a rhetorical question. The poet is not asking you questions. He is going to answer. He has already answered it himself. Why the woman and the child was naked. So he noticed that those people who were slightly in a better condition and were able to walk like Yoko-san, they quietly moved towards the hospital. Now you see, they are not walking, they are not running, they shuffled. What is shuffle? Walk with difficulty. Somehow move with difficulty. So they did not have that much strength in their body to move with cheerfulness, with activeness. They simply just dragged on their body towards the hospital. And what is blank parade? It is as if they were doing march past without making any sound, without speaking. So blank parade is another expression of silence, of wordlessness. The narrator, the doctor, became very dismayed, very shocked, sad, upset when he noticed a woman and a little child were standing in the street, a mother and a baby, both completely naked. Our poet is presenting this imagery of the naked mother and son to show humanity what we have done to ourselves. In order to become progressive, in order to become modernized, we started wearing clothes. Otherwise, our brothers, our sisters, apes, monkeys, gorillas, they do not wear any clothes. We consider ourselves as superior creatures. We are higher than monkeys and apes and gorillas. Why? Because we have a sharper brain. Why? Because we wear clothes. Look what we have done with our sharp brains. We have stripped ourselves naked. A society that cannot cover a mother or a child is a worthless, shameful society. The poet is highlighting this shameful aspect of the modern human society, the Second World War, that stripped the mother and the child naked. I turned my gaze mane eyesight, vision, view, but was at a loss that she should stand thus. Till I came across a naked man, and now the thought arose that some strange thing had stripped us of our clothes. The doctor felt so embarrassed looking at the mother and the child naked that he just simply turned his head away in shame. But the moment he looked on the other side, he noticed that there was another man standing naked like that. And then he realized that entire humanity, perhaps here the entire population of the city, has been stripped naked by the so-called progress of mankind. We have progressed, we have advanced. Our science has advanced so further that it has once again brought us back to the position from where evolution of mankind had started. From a naked ape, a naked monkey, we are back to the position of a naked monkey. This is what the World War has done. This is how the poet very certainly criticizes the war. Overall, if you ask me the theme of this poem, we are almost at the end of the poem. The theme is anti-war. Doctor's Journal Entry is an anti-war poem, but very, very different from the normal anti-war poems, because the other anti-war poems show the brutality of the war. Here, the poet is just hinting at the effects of the war, but in reality, he is pointing out what kind of damage mankind is doing to itself in the name of war, in the name of victory in the war. What kind of victory is it if your women and children are forced to stand naked in the streets? This is not a victory. The poet was at a loss. He did not know what to do, what to say. He was embarrassed. He understood something strange. What is that strange? Human greed, human desire to become more powerful. War has stripped all of us naked. The face of an old woman on the ground was marred with suffering, but she made no sound, no cries of anguish or a single word. Then our poet noticed that another woman was lying on the floor. Her condition was so bad she could not even stand up. Her face was marred. Marred means destroyed. With suffering. She was in so much pain that her expressions were completely crooked because of that pain. Again, you see, she was silent. She did not make any sound. And now the poet says this silence was common to us all. Now, I will tell you why there is so much emphasis on silence. Because this incident has made humanity speechless. Not just the people living in Hiroshima or Nagasaki or Japan. Entire humanity has become speechless. There is nothing to be said. No words of condolence could relieve the grief that we caused to fellow humans in the name of war. So, this speechlessness, this inability to say anything, any kind words to overcome this tragedy, nothing positive, nothing optimistic is left after this. That is highlighted by this silence. The poet ends the poem saying, I heard no cries of anguish or a single word. He did not hear anyone speak anything. He did not hear people crying, shouting in pain. Because everyone was so shocked, everyone was so stunned, no words came out of their mouth. Normally, when we are in pain, we cry, we shout. But when we reach the highest level of suffering, when we reach the highest level of pain, we become speechless. No words come out of our mouth. That was the situation of the people of Hiroshima. And for Hiroshima, the entire world became speechless. So that is it for the poem. Very clearly, the poet, through an imaginary character of a doctor, is pointing out how human beings have become their own greatest enemy. In order to become more and more powerful, in the greed of becoming more and more successful, we have stripped our own species naked. So that has been highlighted in this anti-war poem, Doctor's Journal entry. Thank you.